امام صاحب اولاد نافرمانی کیوں کرتی ہے؟ میں نے لندن میں دیکھا ایک میاں بیوی آئے، ان کی عمر تقریباً 50 سے زیادہ ہوگی دونوں کی، اور وہ بے ساختہ رو رہے تھے. میں نے پوچھا کیوں رو رہے ہیں؟ وہ کہتے ہیں کہ ہمارے پاس اتنی دولت ہے ہمیں خود بھی اس کا اندازہ نہیں ہے. یو کے میں ہماری پراپرٹی ہیں، ٹرکی میں ہماری پراپرٹیز ہیں، پاکستان میں ہماری پراپرٹیز ہیں. تو میں نے کہا آپ رو کیوں رہے ہیں؟ وہ کہتے ہیں جی ہمارے پاس دنیا کی ساری نعمتیں ہیں لیکن ہماری اولاد ہمارے پاس نہیں ہے، نہ کوئی بیٹی ہماری بات سنتی ہے نہ کوئی بیٹا سنتا ہے. سو یہ اولاد کی نافرمانی کیسے دیکھتے ہیں اس کو؟
Disobedience in a child, the first thing we have to look at is the very start of the young age of the child. That's very important. Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has said in the Hadith of Sunan al-Tirmidhi, there is no gift a parent can give which is better than good manners to his child. Good manners is such a gift that develops the child. Misal ke taur par, you should be telling your child at a young age, because the problem starts with poor tarbiyah at a young age. Teach them how to eat food with the sunnah way. Yeah, make them sit down with adab. Teach them what the adab of visiting the bathroom are. Be gentle with them. Eat together as a family. Isme bade fawaid hain. Eat together with the family. Eat in the same bowl of food with the family. Imam Ghazali mentions that in his Ihya Ulumuddin that play with your children for 7 years. 7 years, the first 7 years, play with your children. Spend time and play with them. Then for the next 7 years, teach them manners. Yes, manners. Then befriend them for 7 years. Then become their friends for 7 years.
Till 21.
Till the age of when they grow older, befriend them.
The rest of life.
Yeah, befriend them. Now, why is this so important? Because in your tarbiyah, at a young age, you must show consistency. Not that one day you show Islam to them and you're showing good morals to them, you're not backbiting, you're not lying, but the next few weeks suddenly all of that's gone out the window. And I'll tell you why. I was looking at some research on this. In 1977, social learning theory, there was a research that was carried out. They said that children are most likely to be obedient. When are they most likely to become obedient? Is when the parents model respectful and consistent behavior. Mixed signals and inconsistency can lead to confusion in the child. Meaning, the parents, when they spend time, they should have good morals. They shouldn't backbite. They shouldn't lie. They shouldn't have harshness in their character. They should be soft. They should be gentle. They should be people of truthfulness. So that when the child looks at the parents, he's not seeing hypocrisy. He's not seeing munafaqat. Yes, munafaqat nahi dekh raha wo agar dekh raha hai to sacha insaan dekh raha hai apne samne, aur unke walid bhi hain, walida bhi hain, same for both of them. So this is very important. Acha, then from the age of 10 years, 1 to 10 years, ye bahut pivotal role hota hai isliye because the child, his biggest role model is his parents at that age, up to 10 years. So this is the time where the father has to take out time and spend with the child. After the years of 10 years and above, this is when the child has other influences. He has friends, he has school, he has the net, he has all of these influences. Now suddenly the parents are not as important to him. So those 1 to 10 years are very critical for him. Acha, why are they becoming disobedient? Is because the biggest problem is because they themselves are not seeing obedience in their parents.
Okay. मतलब वालिदैन खुद नाफरमानियां करते हैं.
बिल्कुल. गीबतें वालिदैन कर रहे हैं. अच्छा. हराम मूवीज वालिदैन देख रहे हैं. Okay. Tell me, if you as a father and a mother are watching a haram movie on the screen, Bollywood movies are haram, you're watching them, child walks in and an inappropriate scene comes on, you tell the child, beta, get out the room, this is not for you at the right age. What impression are you giving them? You're telling them when you get to a certain age, it's jais for you to watch. Halanki this is haram. So what type of obedience are we looking for? We're looking for father and mother to have obedience. Not that they're doing haram in the house and then they're expecting miracles. It does not work like that, unfortunately. और इसका मैं टेस्ट आपको दूं. ऐसे टेस्ट क्या होना चाहिए? How do you know that you're a good father or you're a good mother? बताएं ना. Okay. If your child is taqriban at 8 or 9 years old, if your child was asked, what is your father like? What is your mother like? اس کا جواب کیا ہوگا؟ اسکول میں کوئی پوچھے ان سے, a person in school will ask, a teacher will ask. Now, if he says to his teacher, my father is an alcoholic, my father is an abuser, my father is a liar, my father is a lazy person that doesn't regard anything important about his life, you have failed as a parent because you yourself are the problem. And if he turns on and says, no, my father is the one who teaches us Islam, my father is the one who is a lover of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my father is the one who often spends time in the masjid, then you know that you are going on the right track and your son appreciates goodness inside of you.
Zabardast.
He appreciates that you are a good person. Oh, the same goes with the mother as well. So obedience is achieved in the child if the child finds you as a good role model, and if he does not find you as a parent as a good role model, obedience cannot be achieved.
زبردست. تو اس کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ والدین کو خود پہلے ایسے عمل کرنے چاہیے جن کو دیکھ کے بچے خود ہی آپ کے تابع دار ہوں گے, نافرمانی نہیں کریں گے. بہت شکریہ, بہت شکریہ. امام صاحب, بچوں پر سختی کتنی ہونی چاہیے؟ میں نے دیکھا ہے کچھ والدین اتنے زیادہ سافٹ ہیں کہ وہ بچے ان کی بات ہی نہیں سنتے, اور کچھ والدین اتنے زیادہ سخت ہیں ان کے باوجود.
So how much discipline, how much leniency should there be with a child or with children? You've hit the nail on the head because you have said that there's two extremes.
Yes.
One is leniency and the other extreme is what? That there is too much strictness. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said in a hadith of Sunan Abi Dawood, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, teach your children to pray when they are 7. At the age of 7, teach your children to pray. And discipline them about it when they are 10. Meaning discipline, what does that mean? It means that if they like to play a certain act, and for example, they love to play football, they like to play on the PlayStation, discipline them. Don't allow them to do that until they don't stand with you in salah. Right? Discipline them like that. But don't be too harsh. Don't be too strict. Don't be so severe, because this is that age where you have to make the child love salah. This is that age where you have to take the child and gather him together and say to him, son, I am going to Jumu'ah Salah today, come with me. I am going to Eid prayer, come with me today. I am going to Mawlid al-Nabi gathering, come with me today. You have to try to create that love inside of him. He has to see, where is he going? What is he experiencing? What is he achieving in these gatherings at a young age? He has to have a bit of taste of that. In modern day research, Imam Ghazali rahimahullah, in our text, we know Imam Ghazali's one famous quote is, if the parent leans towards harshness, if the parent is very harsh, it will produce fear and anxiety in the child. This is Imam Ghazali is saying this. And if they lean too much towards leniency, it will spoil the child. Yes? And this is evident. Modern day research even supports this. There's a 2009, there was a research that was carried out. In that research, I've got it in front of me, says extensive strictness or harsh discipline can lead to stress and anxiety within the child. Stress and anxiety की एक वजह ये भी हो सकती है कि बहुत discipline के साथ, बहुत सख्ती के साथ वालिदैन ऐसे काम कर रहे हैं. And it affects the child's brain as well. It actually affects the overall well-being. And the stress hormones can affect areas of the brain related to memory and emotional regulation. बच्चे के अंदर ऐसी stress भी आ सकती है कि memory में उसका affect हो सकता है. अच्छा. Because the parents are too strict on the child. And similarly, they shouldn't be lenient. They should be not extremely lenient. So there has to be a balance. Okay, show some discipline and show some leniency. Be the middle. Deen is i'tidal anyways. There's no, from the two sides, you have to show i'tidal. Be in the middle. So when there's a time to discipline them in an appropriate way. Okay? But when this, for example, that's the age when a child can recite Quran, he starts to learn surahs. Don't force them to do this. The first teacher of the child should be the mother. And in teaching the deen, the father should play a big role as well. He should teach the Quran to his child. He should teach surahs to his child. He should be able to become the first teacher for his child, so that gives him a good basis so he can go into madrasa and so on and so forth. So it's very important that discipline means, discipline ki ek aur bhi, in another way we could talk about discipline. Making sure your child sleeps on time. Making sure that the child eats on time. Making sure that the child utilizes his time. So for example, if there's homework he has to do, a set hour is there, half an hour is there for homework. If there's mosque work he has to do, a set hour. A timetable, a routine. If there's no timetable and routine in a child, he will become somebody eventually he'll become either lazy, or he will become somebody that can't control his time properly. And اس سے کیا ہوتا ہے کہ اس کا ٹائم اتنا ضائع ہو سکتا ہے in the future because he's living a life of procrastination. He doesn't really take things seriously as he should. Big issue here. So the parents have to create a routine, a suitable routine, which will benefit the child in that way, and that's how the child will develop in a good individual, in a very sound individual, inshallah rahman. Between discipline and leniency, there has to be a clear balance.
حضرت UK, یورپ, امریکہ, کینیڈا یہ یورپی ممالک ہیں, یعنی ترقی یافتہ ممالک ہیں. یہاں پر اور بالخصوص پاکستان میں بھی کافی فیملیز ایسی ہیں جن میں میاں بیوی دونوں کام کرتے ہیں. جب دونوں کام کر رہے ہیں تو بچوں کی تربیت کب اور کیسے کی جا سکتی ہے؟
That's a very good question. That both husband and the wife are working. How can they give tarbiyah? Remember, this is one of the main points. The biggest problem we have today is this, that we substitute our time and we allow the TV to control the mind of our child. We allow this phone to control the mind of our child, these tablets to control the mind. And the worst babysitter is the TV. The worst babysitter is the television screen, the mobile phone, the tablet, whatever that may be, the PlayStation. Why? Because what are they learning from that? That is actually causing harm. You know how much harm there is in watching television excessively? Watching television excessively and mobile phones creates such problems that in the child's attention spans, and we experience it, we're teachers, we know, when we have children in front of us, we're teaching them something in fiqh, aqidah, they'll study for 15 minutes, their attention is very good, but suddenly attention disappears. One of the main reasons is because they're having so much dopamine, and dopamine levels are so high, they are watching so much TV, that their brains are constantly being fed that, and their attention spans are actually becoming weak by this. Fast images are being shown to them, and their attentions are decreasing. Then the such harms are there. Inappropriate scenes of nakedness are being shown on TV and on the iPhone or the Samsung phones or whatever phone it may be. The child is watching this. At a young age, he's being exposed to filth. How dangerous is that for the child? It isn't even, people don't even look at that from that aspect. So parents need to, what they need to actually do is, they must facilitate time in the week where they dedicate that to their child.
Time unko dena padega.
They have to, there's no other way. You have to take out time for your child. Every single day you have to take out time for your child. And then when you take out that time with your child, speak to them, listen to them, understand what their interests are. You need to know the talent of your child. How is it? Matlab, if there is somebody who's an artistic person and he's very artistic, and you want him to become something completely different, like a doctor or a doctor, you could say, it probably won't work. There's somebody who has the capability of going into the medical field and becoming a doctor, but you want him to become, I don't know, a footballer or something in sports. It doesn't work. You have to find the talent. You have to find and associate the talent with your child, and then see how can you develop that. You have to give time. And time, if time is limited between you, then don't use the TV to substitute that. Use other family members. Grandparents are a big help in this, a massive help. And I'll give you even some proof on that. There was a study that was done in 2007. That study showed, in terms of research, that the involvement of extended family means your uncles, your auntie, your grandparents, that can positively impact a child's development by providing emotional and social support for the child. Wow. That will enhance the emotional and social support of the child. Why? Because there's additional support coming from the uncles. My own example, when I was younger, and even after, like even recently when I was struggling with a few things in life, perhaps like in my studies, my uncles were my support. My Taya Jan Hafiz Amjad Sahib, big support of mine. Whenever I was demotivated in studying, he would motivate me, he would keep me going. My uncle Maulana Qais, my uncle, my other uncles, Alhaj Skandar Sahib, and so many other individuals in my family, my grandparents being so pivotal, they were the ones that pushed me. They were the ones that instilled this in me, that keep going. It's difficult now, but the fruits of that will come later. And if I don't have them people around me, especially if you don't have that in a young age, then that can become very problematic. If the parents are not giving time, then what they should do is they should distribute their time. Don't use mobile phones and stuff like that, but distribute it. Give them your time, and then perhaps get them time from their grandparents that they can have a positive impact on them. This is one of the reasons why it's important that the parents, this is very critical, the parents have to monitor the child's screen time.
Okay.
You have to monitor that. How much hours is my son or my daughter on the mobile phone? How much time they're spending on the TV? How much time they're spending on the laptop? How much time they're spending on the PlayStation? You have to monitor that. And then, what are they actually doing on that? Which websites are they visiting? Which types of ads they are seeing? Which type of games they are playing? Very, very important. ہمارے اکثر ہمارے بچے جو ہوتے ہیں یہ سوال کرتے ہیں استاد صاحب can we play GTA? GTA is a game that you play on PlayStation. Lekin that game is impermissible. Why? Nakedness, haram, drugs. There's so much filth in that game. And 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds are playing this game. Right? This is a big problem. So the parents are at responsibility here, that they have to look very carefully at what their child is doing and monitor them properly. Otherwise, if you're not going to give them the time, nobody else is going to give time to your children, which is very important.
بالکل جی. اگر آپ چاہتے ہیں کہ آپ کے بچے جو ہیں وہ اچھے بنیں تو بے شک آپ کام کریں, لیکن اپنے بچوں کو خود ٹائم دیں. بیبی سیٹر اور کوئی بھی آلٹرنیٹ ویسے کام نہیں کر سکتا, کیونکہ بچے آپ کے ہیں, ان کی تکلیف بھی آپ کو. ہوپ یو انڈرسٹینڈ کوسچن اینڈ آنسر. حضرت, والدین کے آپس میں جھگڑوں کا بچوں پر کتنا گہرا اثر ہوتا ہے, یہ بتائیے گا.
So parents having conflicts in the household is severely damaging to the child. The Prophet ﷺ said very clearly in the hadith of Sunan al-Tirmidhi, the best of you are those who are the best to your families. The best of people are those who are best to their families. So that means your husband and wife, that means your children, right? You have to be best and you have to be great towards them. Now science tells us that if a husband shouts at his wife whilst she is pregnant, while she's expecting a child, there is a high chance that the baby will be born, and when it's born, the baby will suffer from confusion and depression in the future. Why? Because there's aggressiveness coming from the father when the baby is in the stomach of the mother.
Even before birth.
Even before birth. Allah. This is how dangerous it is. This is how, and you should not raise your voice to one another as husband and wife. And I'll tell you why. It's a big problem. Our Sheikh Saqib, I watched one of his lectures on this topic, and he said that once a husband and wife came to us, and they were running a business together. The business was being run together by both of them. And they had issues with their marriage, and they had a lot of problems. So the Sheikh asked them, he said, you know, when you're having these arguments, where do you have them? What's the location of the arguments that you have as husband and wife? Do you have them at work? Or do you have them at home? They say, no, at work we don't have them.
We are okay.
We are perfectly fine at work. You know, when we're making money, we're beyond our time. The Sheikh said, why? Why? Do you have them at home? They said, yes. Why do you have them at home? They said, because we have people working underneath us. We have employees that work underneath us. And if they see us fight, if they see us having an argument, they will run away from us. They won't take us seriously. The Sheikh said, you are thinking about employees running away from you for your business, or people working under you running away. But the biggest gift that you have, which is awlad, you're not understanding that they're running away from you in the household.
Kya jawab diya hai? Wow.
The Sheikh, look how beautifully Sheikh Saqib gave this answer. He said, do you not see the damage that is causing you? You're thinking about workers and dunyavi mafad and dunyavi benefit, but you're not thinking about the benefit. The biggest wealth that you have is your children. You're not thinking about them. You're not thinking about them, how you're treating them when you're fighting at home. This is why it's extremely important. Remember, fighting at home. If a child experiences that the mother and father are fighting, it causes many harms. According to modern day research, in 2004, there was a paper that was done. They say academic success is affected by the arguments that take place between the husband and wife. The child's academic success is affected by that. A lot of individuals who are affected by this, they don't achieve high grades.
اچھا
They don't achieve success in the academia. Why? Because of these issues.
اچھا جی
Criminal behavior.
Oi.
And this is factual stuff that we're providing. In 2001, they gave a research on this. They said that children which come from high conflict households are more likely to develop emotional and behavioral issues that increase the risk of criminal behavior.
اچھا
Criminal behavior is being increased by what? Well, how is it increasing? One of the main reasons is because the household has problems, there's conflict, and the child is witnessing aggressiveness, witnessing fighting and quarrels. This is why. So the husband and wife, the first duty they have is to rectify themselves. They must go and seek counseling. They must communicate with people with authority, both who they respect, and sort out their issues. Because if they don't sort out their issues, directly the effect is happening on your children. Your daughter is watching you fight. Your son is watching you fight. You know? And children take sides. Children will take sides. An individual came to me and he said, I've married a woman, she's already got daughters. Yeah, he's married her, and he said that we're having a lot of issues. He said to me that even though I'm right and she might be wrong, my daughters still have a bias to the mother. They don't even treat me as a father like that. Why? Because there's already an affiliation with the mother like that. So children have biases. It creates hatred in the household, and it's very problematic. So you should avoid that. It's something which will destroy your children, and their psyche and their psychological trauma that is given to a child is unimaginable. You should avoid that to the best of your ability.
بالکل بجا فرمایا کہ اگر آپ چاہتے ہیں کہ آپ کے بچے اچھی تربیت حاصل کریں اور زندگی میں کامیاب ہوں تو آپ آپس میں نہ لڑیں ان کے سامنے. لڑنا ویسے بھی نہیں چاہیے ان کے سامنے, بچوں کے سامنے تو بالکل نہیں چاہیے. بہت شکریہ امام صاحب. حضرت, بچوں کی تربیت میں زیادہ رول کس کا ہے, ماں کا یا باپ کا یا دونوں کا؟
The question is that who has a bigger role, the mother or the father in tarbiyah, or both of them? And the answer to that is the last part that you mentioned. Both have a very significant role.
Achha.
It's not that one is greater or the other. I don't believe that one is greater or the other. They both have a very significant role, but their roles are different. Their roles are very unique. In terms of decision making, the father has greater right. In terms of actually decision making and having the final say, it's the father. How? For example, the mother says that my son, you marry this girl. Common, this is very common. You marry this girl. The father says, no, I'm not going to allow you to marry this girl. I don't want you to marry this girl. At that stage, if it's reasonable, the son should accept the father's decision.
Achha.
Because the father is the decision maker.
ٹھیک.
And he's the one who should be respecting to. There is mashwara that he can take from the wife, but he is the final decision maker.
Achha.
So in decisions, you should side with your father. But when it comes to khidmah, when it comes to actually giving khidmah, it's your mother.
اچھا.
To do khidmah is your mother. For example, if there's ever a situation where khidmah is required, who do you pick, the father and mother? You should go to your mother. And now this is the next part which I want to introduce to this, is that the father has a very pivotal role. The father has to teach the son and the daughter, especially the son, that women are soft beings. They are gentle beings. The way you treat women is not the same as the way you would treat another man. You must be soft with them. You must show courtesy to them. Must show respect to them. You must show gentleness towards them. And this is very important because he has to teach them, the father has to teach them about halal rizq. Your responsibility will be, my son, in the future, you will have your own home, you will have your own family, you will have your own children. Provide halal rizq for them. Provide good facilities for your wife and your children and your mother. This is what the father should be embedding at a young age. And we're talking about 12, 13, 14 at this age. We're not talking really young. 12, 13, 14, these are the types of conversations that you should have. Similarly, the mother, she should also have conversations. But how will she develop this? She will say that the father is the decision maker of the house. When he gives a decision, I accept this as well. Because he's the one who's leading the way for us. As a family, he's the one who's leading the way. And the mother should teach such adab that when the father comes into the house, you should stand up for him.
Wow, zabardast.
You should stand up for him. When the father comes, kiss the father's hand.
Subhanallah.
Right? when the father comes, if you're sitting on this chair, when the father comes, stand up and give your chair to him.
Great.
The mother has to teach these adab.
Wow.
The mother has to teach these teachings. Now I ask you, parents who are watching, I'm going to ask you a question. When was the last time your son or your daughter kissed your hand without you asking them?
Great. Kya baat.
Valid question, isn't it?
Yeah.
When was the last time for a mother your son kissed your feet without you asking them to do so? Questions, they are questions. When was the last time your son massaged you when you were in pain and difficulty? When was the last time he did that? Your son or daughter did that without you asking them. And if they're not doing this, and if they're not doing these things, then you have to think very carefully, what am I teaching my child? How much have I taught my child? These basic adab and etiquettes, have I taught them well, or have I failed? That's something you have to ask. That's something you have to look at. That's something you have to think about very carefully, and then make sure that these things are done, because the child is learning directly from the parents. And if the parents can't teach him these things, bigger things out there, bigger problems out there, you won't be able to drive them away from them calamities that can possibly await somebody. There's bigger fitna out there. If you can't teach them basics, you're going to struggle. And that's very important. Basics have to be done with in a meticulous nature, in the most effective of ways.
بالکل بجا فرما رہے ہیں امام صاحب. یقیناً اگر جو ماں ہے وہ والد کا کردار بتائے, ان کی اہمیت بتائے, اور والد جو ہے وہ والدہ کی خدمت کرنا بتائے, تو انشاءاللہ آپ دیکھیں گے بڑھاپے کے اندر یہی بچے جو ہیں آپ کے لیے باعث راحت بنیں گے. بہت شکریہ امام صاحب. امام صاحب, بچوں کی جو تربیت ہے اس میں اپریسیشن یعنی بچوں کا حوصلہ بڑھانا, وہ ان کے کردار میں کتنا بڑا رول پلے کرتی ہے؟
So appreciating your child, how big a role does that have for the self-esteem perhaps, or the actual growth of the child? It's very important that you give support and praise and affection to your child whenever the child is doing something good. For example, in 2016 they did a research article on this as well. There's different researches that have been done, different articles published, different types of research. One of the research that I found on this was that parental praise, parents praising and appreciating and showing appreciation towards their children, develops self-esteem and academic motivation in children. If you want your child to become academically strong, you want your child to become academically unique, that he's somebody who's going to excel in his academia, praise him at the hard work that he puts in at an early age. Okay? And we know when we praise, this is another problem we have. Because ہمیں طریقہ نہیں پتا ہوتا کہ کس طریقے سے praise کرنا چاہیے. How should we praise another person? Often کیا ہوتا ہے, we say to the kid or that child or that individual, we say, you're very smart. You are very, very smart, mashallah. You're amazing. But what have you done? You have made your praise very generic. You've made it very generic. There's a lot of smart kids. You've made it so generic. Every kid could be smart. That's very generic. How can you make it specific to that child? How will you make it specific to that child? The way you will make it specific to that child is you will say, son or daughter, whoever it may be, I don't mind if you passed or failed the exam. I don't mind about that. But what I love and appreciate about you is the hard work you put to prepare for that exam. Wow. The hard work that you did to prepare for that. The hard work that you did on this particular project that you did. I appreciate and I love and I accept the amount of hard work that you have done to get to this stage. Whether he passes or she fails, that's a different subject. But to appreciate the hard work is something that goes a long way. I've experienced this myself. You know, when my teachers give you a pat on the back like this, mashallah, well done, you put a lot of hard work in there. Just that bit of positivity changes your mindset. I experience this with the students here. When I'm a bit strict sometimes with the amount of work perhaps, but if I change it up a bit and I say to them, mashallah, very well done. You didn't pass the exam, but you came close. I saw you revising. I saw you put effort in. The whole motivation changes. They want to pass the next exam now. They want to push themselves for the next exam. So the way you praise a child is very important. And use Also, whenever your child has success, appreciate that success by making some sort of reward system for him. Accept that he could fail sometimes, he can't always pass every exam, but when he does pass the exam, make a little event for him. Show appreciation that your child has accomplished something. It could be something small in your eyes, but it's big in the eyes of the child.
Zabardast.
It is huge in the eyes of the child. So every single time you feel as though that your child is demotivated or struggling, speak to them, persuade them to continue, motivate them, show them love and affection, tell them you're doing a good job, keep going, don't quit, don't stop, be resilient, I'm behind you.
Wow.
When a father says to his child, son, I'm behind you, the son thinks the world is mine.
Wow.
When a mother's du'as are behind a child, what can come in front of a child? This is the strength that a child has with appreciation. So یہ ہے کہ بد دعا کبھی نہیں دینی بچے کو. You should not give bad dua. You should not give often our parents or people say, may you be destroyed, may this happen to you, may that happen to you. There's a waqia that our scholars have mentioned. One of the companions, he was quoted to have said that there's an individual that came to him and he was struggling with a lot of things. Of frustration said these things to you. That's the result today of your failure today. So parents have to be very careful what they say to their children. Should never say anything negative like that.
بالکل امام صاحب, اگر بچہ نالائق بھی ہے, کمزور ہے ذہنی طور پر, تھوڑا سا لیزی ہے, تو اسے بھی آپ اگر اپریشیٹ کریں گے, اس کا حوصلہ بڑھائیں گے, تو یقیناً وہ بھی زندگی میں کامیاب ہونا شروع ہو جائے گا. جی بہت شکریہ, بہت شکریہ. حضرت, اولاد کا آپس میں کمپیریزن کرنا کیسے ہے؟ کچھ بچے بڑے شائننگ ہوتے ہیں, شارپ ہوتے ہیں, کچھ بچے ذہنی طور پر تھوڑے سے سلو ہوتے ہیں, ایکٹیویٹی میں سلو ہوتے ہیں. ان کا آپس میں کمپیریزن والدین کو کرنا چاہیے کہ نہیں کرنا چاہیے؟
So the question is, should the parents compare them to other children in terms of being smart, being lazy, being good, being bad, or even not even just children, it could be cousins, it could be family members, other family members or other relatives. I personally think that that's very problematic and that shouldn't be done. One of the reasons why is because we have a hadith in Sahih Bukhari, the Prophet ﷺ, a companion said, do not favor one of your children over the other. The companion says that don't favor one of your children over the other. So you have one child, don't favor him over the other. Why? Because I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, be aware of unfairness. Be aware of being unfair. For indeed unfairness is darkness on the day of Qiyamah. Allahu Akbar. What does that mean? That means you have your children, be fair with them. Show them equal amounts of love. And don't compare them. I'll tell you, the problem with comparing is, modern research even vouches for this as well, that when you compare a child with another child, when you compare an individual with another individual, that child's self-esteem and motivation is destroyed. It becomes very problematic because research has shown that children who are compared negatively, not positively, negatively to others are less likely to engage in tasks with an open heart. And they are more likely to attain anxiety and avoidance. So these bigger tasks that you have, these big essay writing perhaps, or exams, or it could be projects, they'll run away from them. They won't even attempt them. Why? Because they feel low in confidence. Why? Because you always comparing them to somebody else. یہ ہوتا ہے اکثر کہ جس کے ساتھ آپ کمپیئر کر رہے ہیں وہ بھی کوئی بڑی شے نہیں ہوتی.
ہاں یہ بھی ہے.
This is factual. Like most of the time, the person that you're comparing them to, he's nothing special. He's a normal human being. It's just that you don't see the weaknesses that person has. That child might have also weaknesses, but you don't see. So as a form of a negative way, you try to compare them. That is wrong. You shouldn't, because that creates low motivation in the child. He always thinks that, I have to become like that. If I don't become like him or like my other cousin or like my other brother, I'm useless. No. Why are you useless? You can achieve something yourself in your own way. One individual is a businessman. He's achieved greatness in business. That doesn't mean you as a brother have to become a businessman like him. It means that you could become a solicitor. You could become a lawyer. You could be a politician. You could become a mudaris. You could become a teacher. That is also success. This is also success. Being a businessman is success, and being a teacher, so it's different. Don't compare them, especially looking at the talents that they have, the way of life that they choose, or the way their mentalities are. You as a parent have to be very careful. Don't compare them to the wrong people, and don't create negativity. But I will create competition between your children.
Great. Good idea.
Create competition.
Great.
When your children are 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, competition banaye. Make a competition. Who can read the most Durood Sharif this week?
Wow, wow, wow.
Make a competition in this week. Who can learn the most surahs or du'as or something like that, right? Make these type of competition. Make competitions in these things.
Even in sports.
Even in sports, of course, like football, cricket. You can create these competitions. In that sense, there's a competition, but there's no negativity about it. You don't create negativity. So this is important.
اس میں کوئی شک نہیں ہے ناظرین. اگر کوئی بچہ تھوڑا سا کمزور ہے, اگر ہم اس کی مزید کمزوریاں اس کو شو کریں گے تو وہ کہیں گا میں تو پہلے ہی مرا ہوا ہوں, میری طرف سے جاؤ باہر میں, ایسے ہی ہے جی, وہ اگنور کرنا شروع کر دے گا. تو امام صاحب نے بالکل صحیح فرمایا کہ آپ اپنے بچوں کو موٹیویٹ کریں, ٹھیک ہے نا. موٹیویٹ کریں گے, اچھے معنوں میں وہ ان کا حوصلہ بڑھائیں گے تو یقیناً وہ بچہ بھی شارپ ہوگا. بہت شکریہ امام صاحب, تھینک یو. امام صاحب, کچھ بچے جھوٹ بہت بولتے ہیں, چغل خوری کرتے ہیں, غیبت کرتے ہیں اور دوسروں پر بہتان یعنی الزام لگاتے ہیں. ان سے بچوں کو ہم کیسے بچا سکتے ہیں؟
Like I said at the start, parents are the biggest role models. So if the parents stop this in the first place, the child will also not affiliate with these things. I'll give you a prime example of lying and a big problem that parents do. They say to their child, if you don't do this action, the big monster is going to come to eat you up.
Achha.
The big monster, the big scary monster is going to come and he's going to do this to you. A jinn's going to come and do this to you. Now tell me, is that a real truth or is that a lie?
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
Yes.
So that thing doesn't even exist. You're telling them something that doesn't even exist to scare them. That impacts the child as well. The child thinks, well, first time he'll do something wrong. Okay. That jinn hasn't come. That monster hasn't appeared. So two things happen here. Firstly, he knows that the parent is lying now and he doesn't take the parent seriously anymore. Second time he will do that action, he has no fear anymore because that thing wasn't even real. Big problem is that you've lied in front of your child, and you have lied in front of your child, you have committed a lie. Now it's easy for him tomorrow to make that same example up or create another scenario like that and lie also because you've done it in front of him. You've taught him how to lie basically. Another big problem we have, backbiting and gossiping. Big problem here is, do not gossip in front of your children. Don't do this. Okay. Don't gossip in front of your children. ہمارے ماحول میں کیا ہوتا ہے؟ اختلافات ہوتے ہیں families میں. So the mother says to the son, you went to your auntie's house, didn't you? Yes, you did. Yes, I did, mom. Yeah, I did. Tell me, what was she saying about my mom? Tell me, what was she saying about me? Wow. Tell me, what was she saying about fulan and fulan and fulan? You are basically inviting the child to backbite. You are basically inviting the child to do ghiba and create gossip, and you are thinking that this is jaiz, this is fine. Halakha, it's a sin. You're speaking behind somebody's back. You're tale-bearing and giving stories and backbiting. You're making it normal for a child at that age. How do you stop a child from doing that when he becomes older? Yeah, this is the problem that we have, don't we? So our parents, our teachers as well, because kabhi ye bhi hota hai ke in madrasa settings, in education institutes, there's ikhtilafat between teachers as well. So one teacher says, I don't like that teacher because he thinks he's the biggest scholar in this room or whatever. Yeah, should never be like this. Agar zati ikhtilafat hai, you should never present them in front of children. Zabardast. Children should never be hearing these things. Yes. And if they are hearing these things, it's a weakness inside of you. Aapke andar jo gandagi hai wo zahir ho rahi hai. But when that comes out, when that becomes zahir in front of the children will not take you seriously. They will develop the same characteristics. They will develop to become lying backbiters and people who tale-bear and stuff like that. You will never ever be able to change that child. Once his itminan has dropped from you as a child, if the itminan has dropped, wo ek authority hoti hai na, if that authority has dropped from the child about his father, about his mother, it's very hard to regain that again to character. It almost becomes impossible. In our syllabus in Obi Jama Masjid, and different masajid also do this as well. They have small books, Islamic studies book, in which they implement and make sure that children are reading the negative effects of backbiting, tale-bearing, and all these gossiping, the negative effects to Quran and Hadith, so at a young age they understand that this is a very evil thing to do. It's something that breaks people's hearts, it breaks families, and it breaks relationships. This is why at a young age they should be taught about the dangers of this, and you as parents are the first people who can teach them this. You are the first one.
بالکل ٹھیک ہو.
And you should be the ones that should be teaching them this.
یقیناً بچوں کے سامنے اگر آپ خود جھوٹ نہیں بولیں گے, الزام تراشی نہیں کریں گے, بہتان نہیں لگائیں گے, الزام نہیں لگائیں گے دوسروں پر, تو وہ بچے کہاں سے سیکھتے ہیں؟ یا آپ سے سیکھیں گے, یا ٹیچر سے سیکھیں گے, یا اپنے دوستوں سے سیکھیں گے.
آپ نے ایک بہت امپورٹنٹ بات یہ بھی کی ہے, الزام لگانا. اس پر میں نے کلام نہیں کیا.
بتائیں ذرا تھوڑا سا اس پہ.
الزام, like to accuse somebody of doing something. اچھا, it's so easy for parents to say, oh, it's my chacha's fault, it's my auntie's fault, it's my neighbor's fault, this person, without any proof, without any tahqiq. You put an ilzam on someone, you accuse someone, you're doing that in front of the child, you're explaining these things in front of the child, you're showing this to the child. The child will now use that to such a level that when a child hits another child, he says, it wasn't me. When he breaks something in the house, he says, it wasn't me. He falsely accuses another person in the house. So do you see how little things like this can become so damaging for the child? That you're accusing someone else falsely with no proof. They will start accusing other people when they do wrong, because there's a link of accusations, negative accusations. Big problem. And you have to rectify this as parents for the growth of goodness in your child.
Thank you, Imam sir. امام صاحب, آج کل جو بچے ہیں ان کو قرآن کی تعلیم گھر میں دلوانی چاہیے, مساجد میں, یا آن لائن؟ آپ چونکہ خود امام ہیں, آپ استاد ہیں, تو آپ سے بہتر میرا خیال ہے کوئی اور بندہ رائے نہیں دے سکتا. کیا کہتے ہیں اس میں؟
Should they be, what is better basically? That's the question, isn't it? What is better? Online teaching better, or in face-to-face, or in a madrasa setting, is that better? The answer to this is that both have their own benefits and both have their own cons. So pros and cons on both sides. Let's take the madrasa example first. I personally think that face-to-face teaching, there is nothing better than that. Face-to-face, there is nothing better than that. The reason being is because the teacher sees the student sees the child. The students will see the teacher. Yes, teacher will see the student will see the teacher. Yes. So they will see one another. The child who's studying under that teacher will learn the characteristics of that teacher, with the condition that the teacher is a person of good akhlaq. Teacher's job is not to teach you Quran and Hadith and fiqh alone. You learn akhlaq from him.
So you are talking about at home or in the mosque?
Both.
face to face
میں بات کر رہا ہوں نا.
ٹھیک ہے.
So when you have a teacher that's face to face, like جیسے آمنے سامنے ہوتے ہیں, face to face, it is, that benefit is that you learn from the teacher directly, the way his characteristics are, the way he holds himself. Tarbiyah is given directly. And if you're in the masjid, there's many fawaid. Biggest fawaid is what, when you're studying the makhluk of the angels is around you. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever goes to the masjid, every time he goes, Allah prepares for him a place in paradise. Every single time he goes. The child is coming to the masjid, he's becoming attached to the masjid.
Good.
And the social element is there as well.
Yes.
کیونکہ اور بھی بچے ہوتے ہیں.
Manners.
There's mannerisms. You know how to conduct yourself as a student. There's other students. You have to be respectful to them. Exactly. You have to be respectful to your teachers. You have to be respectful to the environment, the masjid. These are all benefits, big benefits. The other side of it is benefits have one side. The other, there's some negatives as well. One negative that I found is some students have special needs. Okay. Some are dyslexic, some are autistic, some of them have ADHD problem, they have different illnesses, mental illnesses that I found, they have this. How do the masajid cater for them?
It's really hard.
They're not catering for them as well. No. One is it's hard, the other is we're not catering for them. So if there's an autistic child, how do we teach? How can, like in schools, We have different separate schools for them, SEN special needs schools, right? Masajid are not like that.
Yes.
So for them type of students, I believe they need one-to-one teaching.
Good.
They need people to come into their house and they have to have some understanding of special needs as well. That's point number one. So that's one negative I can say.
यहाँ पर मेरा एक सवाल है, ये हो गया
जी.
वापिस मस्जिद में आते हैं, अगर बच्चा मस्जिद में पढ़ता है मेरे ख्याल में वो ज़्यादा सीखता है, वहाँ पर कुरान, हदीस, फिक्का, वो एकेडमिक जो है सिलेबस पे थोड़ा सा बात करें कि ज़्यादा वो चीज़ें कौन कौन सी सीखता है। मैनर्स तो हो गए
कि मसाजिद में,
मतलब मसाजिद के अंदर मेरे ख्याल में ये अच्छा है कि वो मस्जिद में आके पढ़ें, तो कौन कौन सी ऐसी चीज़ें आप क्या कुछ पढ़ाते हैं, ये ज़रा बताइए।
तो इधर हमारा सिलेबस ये है कि बच्चे जो होते हैं डिफरेंट एज ग्रुप्स, वी बेस इट ऑन दैट, द यंगस्टर्स रिसाइड क़ाइदा and salah book, so they're learning the salah, they're learning the du'as, the important du'as, dua qunut and janaza and so on and so forth. Next level up is those who are just reciting Quran, they're memorizing surahs, okay, and they're learning more about Islam in different, they have Islamic studies books, book 1, book 2, where they're learning all about these things, like for example Tawheed, Risala, mannerisms, Seerah, they're all reading this. And the high level up class, which I tend to cover, in that that I teach is tajweed. I'm teaching them aqidah, I'm teaching them fiqh, I'm teaching them seerah and general mannerisms as well. So they're getting a full dose of different topic areas which are important for their growth. So that when a child leaves the masjid at the age of 15, 16, even if he was to leave, he has covered seerah, aqidah, fiqh and such things like that in a good level.
लास्ट में ऑनलाइन का बता दें, बहुत ज्यादा बच्चे जो हैं वो ऑनलाइन पढ़ रहे हैं, क्या बताना चाहिए?
Online has its benefits as well. So studying online has its benefits because your
benefits भी बताएं और उसका नुकसान भी बताएं.
The benefits are that you're at the comfort of your home, you have your own hours you can pick, one-to-one teaching is possible as well, and it is something which is convenient for parents because sometimes parents find it difficult to drop their children off. The problems with that though is that you don't have no social interaction. The child has no social interaction with other children. That's problematic. He doesn't learn from the teacher effectively the way he should. He can't observe the teacher. And then the teacher himself doesn't always know whether the child understands it properly or not. That's a big problem.
All right.
वो तो teacher तो पढ़ाएगा, लेकिन he doesn't understand that has the student understood this lesson properly. It's hard online. You don't understand.
It is.
Sometimes you understand, but a lot of the time you don't. Attention spans of children. मैंने पहले भी बताया, they're very limited.
Exactly.
So you're teaching them for 2 hours online. It's very hard for them to focus on the screen.
Even
hard
30
for us.
minutes. Even 30 minutes.
It's hard for us to focus on the screen for about an hour. You're asking little children to do that. It's very difficult. So this is very difficult in that regard. But if, like I said, in extreme circumstances, online does work. It is beneficial in some areas.
Yes.
You can do that. But you should try your best to, first priority is bring them to the masjid.
बहुत शुक्रिया. ये आपके सामने तीनों ऑप्शन हैं. जो ऑप्शन आप अडॉप्ट करना चाहते हैं करें. एक मेरी पर्सनल भी राय है, आप तो मोहल्ला में आप बेहतर जानते हैं. मेरा ये ख्याल है कि मस्जिद में बच्चे को भेजना चाहिए ताकि वो बहुत ज्यादा चीजें लर्न कर सकता है अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट स्पेशल कंडीशन. बहुत शुक्रिया इमाम साहब, थैंक यू सो मच. इमाम साहब, बच्चे छोटे होते हैं, उनको सूझबूझ नहीं होती, वो नाकाम होते हैं. जब बच्चे नाकाम होते हैं तो उनके साथ लड़ना और नाकामियों से कामयाबियों की तरफ जाना कैसे सिखाया जाए बच्चों को?
The question is that young children, or you can even say teenagers perhaps as well, that how can they become more resilient when failure is in front of them? Or how can they become more strong or effective when they are going through difficulties and hurdles? One of the first things that you have to understand is that the parents, the teachers in the madrasa as well, both teachers and parents, they have to try to create the resilience in the children themselves. How? They have to teach them that everything that in this world that we're living in is controlled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything. Success comes from Him, and if you fail, it also comes from Him. But if you fail and you don't achieve that thing that you're looking to achieve, there's a bigger wisdom. Usme wisdom hai. But we don't know that wisdom sometimes. It's not always apparent, but there's a bigger wisdom. Maybe Allah saved you from something. We don't always know the wisdom, but there is a wisdom. When a child is taught that there's something called a hikmah, there's something called wisdom, sometimes things don't always go to plan, then he knows that whatever happens in my life, whether that be good or bad, Allah is the one who is going to control my affairs. He understands that. First point is to understand that. Secondly, the child should be taught stories of Anbiya alayhimus salam, the Ahlul Bayt, the Ashab al-Mustafa, how they went through difficulties and how they found solutions.
Zabardast.
The Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam's difficulties are in front of us.
Allahu Akbar.
Look at the difficulties that he faced with his own brothers. What a great story that would be to tell you to children.
And the full story is in Quran.
Yes, yeah,
MashaAllah.
with his brothers, the full story is in Quran, and you can take out so many things from that story. Sayyidina Ayyub alayhi salam, trialed with difficulty. Yes, Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam was given 2 children, and the Abidin and Qabil's famous story. Yes, he had to deal with that. So when you teach them these stories and how the Anbiya, Sayyidina Rasulullah lost 2 of his sons at a young age. Look at that. You have to teach them these things so that you can see that these were the greatest of people. And the greatest of people go through tests, but they don't lose hope in Allah. They don't lose hope in Allah. Give them examples of the people of Syria and Palestine right now. Give them that example that the children in Palestine are saying, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. That Allah is the one who is the one who protects us. Teach them this and show them that these are also children. You are also children, but we must be resilient. And also, practically speaking, for example, even my own life, when I was studying early on in my life, when I was studying, I remember a few times I was struggling with sarf or nahw or something like that. I would go to my father and I'd say, look, I can't do this properly. I'm struggling.
Not easy.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
So what would a good father do? He would come with the child to the teacher, sit him down and say, Ustad Saab, Sheikh Saab, my son is complaining that he's not understanding this. Iska hal kya karo? Kya hona chahiye? Kya kare hum iska hal? What should be done? That's exactly what my father did. I remember one day there was a bahas in Nahab. I didn't understand it. I was a young kid then, probably by 11, 12 years old. I was struggling. The Asma'i Mutamakkin, I was struggling. I still remember the chapter. So I told my father. My father came in to Sheikh Saqib at that time, was my teacher. And I was really demotivated at that time. I just didn't want to, I didn't know what to do. My father and my Sheikh both sat together and they tried to create a solution for how I should be revising. How can I improve this? They didn't demotivate me, but they showed how to do it. So what I'm trying to say is, you have to bring solutions. If you don't bring solutions, things will become problematic. So build solutions and find ways where you can make the child resilient and strong. That yes, you might fail. Yes, you might go through difficulties. Yes, you might go through issues. But the key thing is never to give up. Keep strong, keep resilient.
मैं शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ आपके वालिद साहब का जो लेके गए किबला शाह के पास, और आज आप माशाल्लाह एक कामयाब शख्सियत हैं, इमाम हैं। अल्लाह करीम आपको सलामत रखे। नाज़रीन मोहतरम, जो फेलियर है ना, दैट इज़ नॉट एंड ऑफ लाइफ। वहाँ से हम सीखते हैं। और यकीनन जितने कामयाब लोग हैं, आप उनकी लाइफ को पढ़ के देख लें। अंबिया की स्टोरी तो इमाम साहब ने आपको बता दी। दुनिया के अंदर जितने लोग कामयाब हुए हैं, उनकी नाकामियाँ अगर आप देखेंगे ना, तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा हैं। और उसके बाद जाकर फाइनली दे गॉट सक्सेस। तो अपनी ज़िंदगी में नाकामी अगर आती है तो उसके खंदा पेशानी के साथ सर को झुकाएं, अल्लाह से मदद मांगें, इंशाल्लाह कामयाबी आपका मुकद्दर बनेगी। इमाम साहब, आप टीन एजर्स के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, आप उस्ताद हैं, इमाम हैं, उनकी नफ्सियात से आप जानते हैं। ये जो टीन एजर्स हैं, ये नफ्सियाती बीमारियों, बिलखुसूस डिप्रेशन का शिकार हो रहे हैं। मैं ज़ाती तौर पर एक बच्ची को जानता हूँ जो बिल्कुल टीन एज में, और उसने अपनी बॉडी के ऊपर इस तरह बाजू के ऊपर ब्लेड के साथ कट लगाए। हालांकि वो इतनी ज़हीन बच्ची है, यहाँ का जो तालीमी निज़ाम है उसमें वो A+ इस तरह के उसकी मार्किंग है, लेकिन ये दूसरी तरफ वो डिप्रेशन में है। ये क्या वजूहात हैं? बच्चों को कैसे बचाएं वालिदैन?
This is a question that people often ask teenagers falling into depression, and they feel as though the psychological issues in children, teenagers, and they can't find the balance of life. To be honest with you, there's many different factors for this, and we don't know that every case is specific. For example, this young sister, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow her to have shifa and grant protection. Teenage years are very strange because the emotions of a child, be it a girl or a boy, emotions and adrenaline and hormones constantly change. So that's a big problem, because a teenager can't always use that, because neuroscience, modern neuroscience says that in teenage years, the prefrontal cortex, prefrontal cortex is a part which is responsible for decision making. That's a part which is responsible for decision making. At the age of teenage years, it's still developing. But what tends to happen is, because it's developing, there is still instability in the teenager. There's still instability with the decision making. That's why schools are teaching the teenagers now, you are adults. You can make the best decisions. There's no doubt teenagers can make good decisions, but they are not complete adults yet. وہ خود سوچتے ہیں کہ ہم اس مقام پر پہنچ گئے کہ والدین کی ضرورت نہیں ہے، اب بڑوں کی ضرورت ہی نہیں ہے. There's no need for elders now. I can make my own decision. I'm a teenager. This is where the problem comes. When they make decisions, they tend to fall into difficult spots. And difficult spots are so difficult because they make the decision themselves. They don't want to go to their parents and open up about them now, because there was no influence of the parents in the first place. That leads to anxiety, depression, and leads to different factors. Sometimes science has also said this as well, that teenagers have genetics. Genetically, they have a family history of individuals who are gone into depression, who have fallen into mental issues, and that actually trickles down into the new generation as well.
ایسے ہی ہے جیسے ڈائبٹیز ہے یعنی شوگر ہے فیملی کے
اندر،
بلڈ کا یا ہارٹ کا کوئی مسئلہ آ رہا ہے تو یہ بھی جینیٹک ہے.
Yes, it can also happen. And the big problem we have in this society today is social media. Because social media has its benefits, but social media is a platform for you to get bullied on. You can get bullied on. Bullying can happen on social media. Social media is a place where you can give an opinion about anything you want, right? And when your opinion is ridiculed, when it's disregarded, that teenager who thought he knew about something, he knew something great, is disregarded. It breaks his self-esteem. It makes him feel lonely. It makes him feel devastated that my opinions don't even count. Because that's the age when a teenager feels as though I'm something right now. Like in Achana, people are ridiculing him. People are disrespecting him. That's a big problem. Consumption of high dopamine. Because teenagers are on PlayStations right now. They're on laptops. They're on social media, constantly swiping through their phones. Dopamine levels are there. High dopamine levels. Their brains are not functioning properly. They're falling into depression because of social media. In 2018, there was research done that they found that increased social media, the more social media is given to a person and he increases inside of it and using it, higher rates of depression are happening. Allah. The more a person, and anxiety as well, the more the person is, for example, Instagram is one app which is designed to make someone feel good about themselves. So it comes to a stage where a person wants to achieve perfection and perfection and perfection. And at one stage, Instagram was probably the worst app for mental health. Achha. Because comparisons hote hain na. Ek banda hai, uska chehra hai. Ek banda, uska khubsurat chehra hai. You want to become like that. He's got good dressing. He's got good followers. You want to be like that. Start ho jata hai. That's a big problem.
Imam sahab, ye to ho gaya कि वो सारे उसके इससे निकला कैसे जा सकता है? अगर shortly ये भी बता दे तो.
निकला कैसे जा सकता है? It's very difficult. At some stages it becomes very hard. But I would say that you as a parent can work this out. You will be the person first to grab hold of your child and say, I am with you, whatever difficulties you're going through. हालांकि हमारे मुआशरे में ये भी होता है कि people have simple issues like depression, and like girls and boys are falling in love and they don't find marriage because of that, they fall into depression.
Yes.
This it seems so simple, but this is affects the mind and the body. So the parents have to think about this. What's the best solution? So the parents, if they find depression found in a child, they should then go and consult specialists who are specialists in the field and try to consult them and give them training and personal one-to-one time. Maybe even visit the masjid for the imams and so on and so forth. There are many different avenues that we can. Is par inshallah puri series hogi. Inshallah one day we will talk about this, maybe how the best factors are. There's very little time, but utilize what you have in front of you as parents. Use social media if you have to bring goodness to the lives of the child by finding people who are experts in dealing with these things. You as a parent have a responsibility. So just the way you feed your child, make sure the mental health of the child is sound as well. That's a responsibility for you and all the teachers teaching the children in madaris, in schools. There's responsibility they have as well.
बेशक
They have a big responsibility.
कोई शक नहीं है, बिल्कुल माहौल जो है वो बच्चों की सेहत पर बहुत ज़्यादा असर करता है. तो उम्मीद करते हैं ये क्लिप आपको पसंद आया. अगर पसंद आया तो शेयर करते हैं आगे. इमाम साहब, खुद एतमादी ये बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करती है इंसान की लाइफ में. वालिदैन अपने बच्चों के अंदर सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस यानी खुद एतमादी कैसे पैदा करें ताकि वो ज़िंदगी में कामयाबी की तरफ जाएं?
So how can you create good self-esteem and confidence in a child to make them achieve greater things? The first thing is, the biggest thing is positivity. You have to become positive people yourself. You can't be people in front of your child when something goes wrong. Like for example, you can't pay a bill, you got a mortgage on your head, you've got a fine suddenly, you start panicking and saying, oh, why did this happen? If you're showing your child that you can't deal with solutions, deal with problems and not create solutions, if you are showing this to your child, that's a sign of poor leadership. Because वो देख रहा है, बच्चा देखता है ना कि बिल आया है, वालिद साहब क्या कर रहे हैं भाई? वालिदा, the mother, she can't clean the whole house in that particular hour, so she starts panicking, she starts throwing this around, that around. It's chaotic. The child is seeing this. How do you create confidence in that child is, because the way you do that is, you must sit with the child, you must observe the child and create a positive mahol for them so that they can have a time in their house they feel safe. In their house they are confident people. My own example I gave you earlier on, that my father used to lock me in the room with himself and teach me how to do bayan. He used to tell me, use your hand like this, aise haath ko aise use karo, zuban, raise your voice here, bring it down here. That created confidence in me. Itna confidence aa gaya कि मैं school में भी जाता था, colleges में भी I went to colleges, universities. No issue in public speaking, alhamdulillah.
We can see
बड़े से बड़े उलमा भी अगर हों तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, थोड़ी सी तो होती है कभी-कभी, लेकिन बड़े से बड़े भी उलमा भी हों, confidence है, क्योंकि बचपन से ये तरबियत मिली है. So you as a parent have to create that. Then the teachers, like in madaris, here what we do is, we try to, when a big event, aapne bhi dekha hoga pichli martaba when you came last time, we train our children so that they can do speeches as well. So they look at the book, perhaps, even if they're looking at the book, it's still something. It's still an achievement to stand up in front of hundreds of people.
यहाँ पर इमाम साहब मैं बात करना चाहूँगा, मैं पूरे यूके और पूरी दुनिया में प्रोग्राम करता हूँ, लेकिन ये इनका खासा है कि इनके यहाँ मैंने आकर देखा है कि इन्होंने बच्चों को बेशक 2 लाइनें याद करवाई हैं ना, कोई नात पढ़ रहा है, कोई कुरान पढ़ रहा है, कोई स्पीच कर रहा है, कोई इंग्लिश में, कोई उर्दू में. I salute all your teachers, माशाल्लाह. जी carry on वो self जो आप बात कर रहे थे, self confidence के बारे में.
Yeah, so this is what we try to implement in the children here as well. We say that you are the future. You are the people who are going to hold Islam in the future. When we die, you are the ones. So we have to create that positivity inside them, that you can be the one. मैं अक्सर बच्चों को ये कहता हूँ कि मुझ जैसा निकम्मा अगर इधर बैठ सकता है, and we can teach you the deen, you can do it as well.
ये बड़ी बात है.
Yeah, I always say this because
मतलब आप खुद काबिल हैं, लेकिन बच्चों को दिखा रहे हैं कि you can do more than me.
Of course, because मैं उनको अक्सर कहता हूँ कि you have to surpass me. Don't reach my level, go beyond me. That's what you should be aiming for. मेरे खुद वालिद साहब की तरबियत ये थी. मैं जब जिस असातिज़ा के साथ पढ़ता था तो मैं उनको कहता था कि मैं तो पढ़ रहा हूँ लेकिन वो तो बड़ी शख्सियत है. मेरे वालिद साहब पता क्या कहते थे मुझे? वो कहते थे कि नहीं, बड़ी शख्सियत तो है, लेकिन तुम्हें क्या एम करनी चाहिए? You should aim to be the best as well.
उनका नाम रोशन करो.
हाँ, उनका नाम ऐसे रोशन होगा कि जब तुम तरक्की की तरफ जाओगे, when you will be at that level, the name of your sheikh will be raised, the name of your teachers will be raised.
Great.
So this is the confidence that you have to create in the people, and then जो उनकी hobbies होती है ना बच्चों की, जो उनकी interests होती है, whatever they're interested in, the hobbies that they have, spend time with them. If they want to play football on the weekend, go and play football with them, or just observe them, support them. If they are good at art, drawing things, sit down with them and just observe them. If you're not good at it, try. Even if the kid laughs at you, still participate in that activity.
Wow.
Go out for a walk with them. Just go for a walk. Tell them, ask them, how was your day today in school, for example? How's your week been? Speak to them, create interest in them. And then show them different avenues. Okay, that You have an interest in this. When I was your age, I had an interest in this.
Be a friend.
Be a friend. Yeah, of course, you have to be a friend. یہ ہے کہ you should have a friendship relationship. لیکن بچے کو the child should never think that you are his friend. The child should think that my father has this level, but he can't come down to this level. But he is not an actual friend just the way Adil is my friend or Zakir is my friend. Or these are my friends. Father is not friend, but what he can do is he shows a friendship methodology towards his child. That's very important to create confidence and goodness in the child for growth and good purpose for him in the future.
زبردست. یقیناً امام صاحب اگر ایک بچے کی تربیت میں یہ شامل کیا جائے کہ تمہارے اندر شیر جیسی طاقت ہے تو وہ فیل کرے گا کہ میرے اندر بڑی طاقت آ گئی ہے. اور اگر ایک شیر جیسا بچہ آپ کے سامنے بڑا ہیلدی ہے تو آپ اسے کہیں گے کہ یار تیرے اندر تو ہے ہی کچھ نہیں یہ وہ، تو وہ شیک کر جائے گا کانفیڈنس. دوستان گرامی، یہ ہم جو ویڈیوز بناتے ہیں یہ بڑا لمبا ایک پروسیس ہوتا ہے. پہلے ہم ریسرچ کرتے ہیں، پھر امام صاحب ریسرچ کرتے ہیں، پھر یہ ریکارڈ ہوتے ہیں، پھر یہ ایڈیٹرز کے پاس جاتی ہیں، پھر ان کا سارا پروسیس ہوتا ہے. یہ ویڈیو جب آپ کے پاس آ رہی ہے تو اس کے پیچھے کافی ساری محنت ہے. ہمیں دنیاوی کوئی معاملات نہیں چاہیے. صدقہ جاریہ سمجھتے ہوئے یہ جو ویڈیوز آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں ان کو اپنی فیملی کے ساتھ شیئر کریں، تاکہ اگر وہ دیکھیں گے ان کی فیملی یا ان کا کوئی ایک بھی بندہ سمر گیا آپ کی وجہ سے تو ریسٹ آف لائف اس کا صدقہ جاریہ آپ کو اس کا ثواب ملے گا. بہت شکریہ. انشاءاللہ نئی ویڈیو کے ساتھ آپ کے ساتھ ملاقات ہوتی ہے.